2/3 being in the affirmative, the rules are suspended, the bill is passed, and without the objection, the motion to reconsider is laid on the table. Check.
So the United States is exercising economic terrorism yet again, and this time against the will of their own people, stripping them of their right of freedom of speech, and in millions of cases stripping them of their incomes and livelihoods, as millions of people are making a living off of TikTok. I wonder, is their government going to reimburse them for their lost income? This is your favorite half Chinese, and drop it a like quickly. Or are they going to use that money to send off to prolong wars in other nations to bring death and destruction to the world? No, it's not about national security concerns, as the White House admitted right here.
White House National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan said on Tuesday the goal was ending Chinese ownership, not banning TikTok.
Do we want TikTok as a platform to be owned by an American company or owned by China? Do we want the data from TikTok, children's data, adults' data, to be staying here in America or going to China? That is the fundamental question at issue.
As we just heard, it's not about banning TikTok, but about who owns TikTok. So they don't want Chinese people to own TikTok. That is straight out racist, discriminatory, and xenophobic, and has the behavior of an economic terrorist. Now, I know some Americans will say, but China also bans some of our social media platforms. And yes, that is true, but the reasons are different, and that's what it's about. In the case of Facebook, their Facebook Messenger was used in terrorist attacks inside of China, and they didn't want to comply with Chinese law to look into that, saving lives from terrorist attacks. So they were banned. And rightfully so. And so when you're from the USA, a country that pretends to be in a war against terrorism, you should be very understanding, as the United States of America would demand exactly the same. The other platforms do not want to adhere to Chinese law when doing business inside of China, not outside of China, because China doesn't care about what you do outside of China. But inside of China, you must obey Chinese law. Does that make sense to you? And if you don't, then you are not welcome, just like it is in the United States of America. And since Americans believe in law and order, they can only do one thing, and that's agree with China. TikTok, however, never broke US law. In fact, it does everything to comply with US law and even store the data in the US to make Americans feel safe about their data. They literally do more to guarantee your data safety than your own American social media platforms do. And therefore, it is not the same. It is not even comparable.
Where are you with Project Texas? Because there's been some reporting, and I know that you've come out and said very soon Oracle will have the unprecedented access to our data, or indeed to the ways in which of your source code. But that's not now. When will Oracle be able to enact this sort of unprecedented overseeing and transparency of your company?
Project Texas is a very complicated project, and a lot of the elements of the project is already in place and operational. For example, today, by default, all US data is stored in the Oracle Cloud servers already, in the Oracle Cloud infrastructure, and no longer in our own servers in Virginia and in Singapore.
You've already done that transfer?
It's already done by default, correct. Separately, Oracle has begun the review of the code, although it's, as you can understand, a complicated project that will take time for us to finish the details. So it's on track. Oracle and ourselves are working together with the US government to finalize the details of Project Texas.
And that was from 9 months ago. But maybe the US government missed that. I mean, it was only showed publicly on the Qatar Economic Forum. Do you think they've missed it? And probably TikTok also have sent it to all the representatives in America to plead its case. But if you don't open your mail and you are too stupid to be able to read, then they probably missed it. Maybe the Americans should send the clip to their representatives. I mean, that's a joke. Don't do that. Do Americans still think they live in a free country? That's the question we should ask. 170 million users in the United States of America. That's like half the population. And the other half that's not on TikTok probably are too young to be on TikTok or elderly who do not use TikTok and or other social media. Now mind you, as my understanding is that the United States, the so-called land of the free, also wants to criminalize the use of having the TikTok app as a citizen. In China, certain platforms are not allowed to do business in there, but it doesn't prohibit its citizens from being on those platforms. They just need to use a VPN to go around the firewall so they can make an account and make use of other platforms, which is allowed by the state. Do Americans still believe in their freedom? Now I understand Biden is going to get the blame for this, and rightfully so, as it happens under his administration. But we cannot forget that it is also the Republican Party that supports it. And also, before you start, we need to vote for Trump. Trump tried it before.
I could have banned TikTok. I had it banned just about. I could have gotten it done. But I said, you know what? But I'll leave it up to you. I didn't push them too hard because, let them do their own research and development. And they decided not to do it. But as you know, I was at the point where I could have gotten it done if I wanted to. I sort of said, you guys decide, you make that decision, because it's a tough decision to make. Frankly, there are a lot of people on TikTok that love it. There are a lot of young kids on TikTok who will go crazy without it. There are a lot of users. There's, a lot of good, and there's a lot of bad with TikTok. But the thing I don't like is that without TikTok, you can make Facebook bigger. And I consider Facebook to be an enemy of the people, along with a lot of the media.
As we see here, how Trump is flip-flopping. So first he wanted to ban and for sale TikTok, but he didn't succeed, however. Then on the end, he makes it very clear why he all of a sudden wants TikTok. Because he doesn't like Facebook. The question Americans should ask themselves is, did he or did he not like Facebook back in the days when he wanted to ban and force TikTok to be sold to America? Or is he just saying this because of 170 million of TikTok users are angry now and will potentially vote for Trump because he all of a sudden says he's against the ban/for sale, while he was the first to initiate it. So that leaves you guys with just the alternative. Maybe it's time to look at them. Now, a simple thing you can do, because you live in a democracy, is use your democratic rights and call up or mail your representative and the party they belong to and tell them, if this goes through, I will never vote for this party and representative ever again. I'm not kidding. It is totally within the boundaries of your law. But if you want TikTok to be what it is and stay like what it is and enjoy your freedom of speech, then that is my advice. By the way, a disclaimer, I'm born in and live in the Netherlands, and my mother is Dutch and white as milk, and I am not affiliated with the CCP. In fact, I am still trying to figure out what the CCP is. This was your favorite half Chinese. Please drop it a like, share, and if you have not yet, then follow. And as always, have a great day.